Folks, sometimes these condos are just not worth the headache. I'll get into that and then the latest home prices and insights for condos across the GTA for week ending February 12th, 2025. I'm working with condo buyers, and the buyer's goal is often, most buyers, well, I haven't met any buyers that say to me, Santo, I'm willing to overpay. Buyers are always trying to buy for as little as possible, and they want to use whatever leverage they have against the seller to buy for as little as possible. Many of my buyers will say, Santo, we have the ability to close quickly. Well, that can be leverage, especially if the unit we're looking at is vacant. We know if it's vacant, a quick closing, the seller would look at that favorably, more favorably than a longer closing. Well, think about it. A 3-month closing has 3 months of maintenance costs for the sellers. The maintenance fees built in, has 3 months of mortgage payments built in, 3 months of other expenses and insurance and utilities and property taxes built in. Whereas a quick closing eliminates all those expenses. And for many condos in many situations, that's thousands of dollars in expenses over that 3-month period. So for the seller to see a quick closing on an offer tends to look at that more favorably than a longer closing. But this only applies to vacant and some owner-occupied condos. It rarely applies to tenanted condos. So if you're selling a condo that's tenanted, you can't close quickly. And so for the buyer that's trying to use that as leverage, the buyer's, financially strong, ready to buy, and they want to move in quickly, well, that leverage is totally eliminated if it's tenanted. So I get many buyers that are in that situation telling me, I only want to look at vacant or owner occupied that they can close quickly because they want to use that leverage. We sometimes will see a tenanted condo that my buyer client actually likes. And recently we put in an offer on one. This was a condo townhouse. We had a home inspection condition as part of the agreement. We booked the home inspection. It got confirmed by the tenant, by the homeowner. We booked the home inspection. We're set. The day of the home inspection, we get a call saying, sorry, can't do the home inspection today. We try to reschedule, can't reschedule at any time. And turns out there was a problem between the tenant and the landlord, and it's blocking us we have got nothing to do with their situation, but it's blocking me and my clients and the home inspector from getting into the house and conducting our home inspection. We've had other situations where the showings are booked and at the last minute they get canceled. We had a situation where the tenant doesn't move out on closing date, the day they're supposed to move out. Look, I'm saying all this not in any way to come down on tenants. Like, you got to understand the situation. If a tenant's living in a home and the homeowner decides to sell the home, there's no real upside for the tenant. The tenant, their life is actually being majorly inconvenienced by this home being sold. And so you got to appreciate there's going to be some sort of frustration with the tenant who's living there, minding their own business, and they've got to allow showings, and then they've got to move out maybe sooner than they were planning to move out and find another place to live and all that. It's just not a happy situation for the tenant. So you can appreciate their frustration. I'm telling you all this because if you're choosing to sell your condo, in the current state of the condo market, you already have your own set of challenges selling in this market as it is now. But selling a tenanted unit, a condo that has a tenant there, comes with another set of challenges. And because there are so many vacant condos for sale or owner-occupied condos for sale, it's pretty easy for buyers to just skip tenanted condos altogether. And in fact, after we've been inconvenienced by looking at a few tenanted condos, often my buyer clients will say, let's just avoid the tenanted condos because there's so many other choices out there. So think long and hard and understand if you're looking to sell a tenanted condo, you've got your own unique set of challenges with that. If you feel this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Folks, we have a large one-bedroom plus den condo in South Etobicoke. Check out the listing. There'll be a link on the screen here at the end of this video. We're talking about condos only for City of Toronto, York region, and for Peel region. We're going to start off with the City of Toronto. These are condo apartments only. For week ending February the 12th, 141 condos were sold. Sales are down from the previous week. 12 of those were at $1 million or more. That's also way down, almost half of what we sold at $1 million or more the previous week. Average sold price also down to $675,000. $675 is 9% lower than where we were this time a year ago. The median price of $625 is also 9% lower. Now, if you look at the dotted line, the 4-week moving average kind of gives the impression that average price, median prices are maybe trending up a little bit, but it's not by much. 141 were sold, 21% sold at list price or more. Listings, way more listings this year than this time a year ago. And when we look at the sales of 141 sales, it represents only 3.2% of active listings. There are 4,468 active listings right now. So 3.2% of all the condos available for sale sold for the week ending February the 12th. And months of inventory, up quite a bit. It's now sitting at 7.3 months of inventory, pretty much a buyer's market. This is Toronto broken down into 9 different sections. We say the city as a whole on average is at 7.3 months of inventory. Well, some areas are outperforming this city as a whole. Scarborough condos there are 5.8 months of inventory. High Park, Parkdale, 4.6 months of inventory. If we look at downtown, we're sitting at 9.9 months of inventory, and 2.3% of all condos available in downtown actually sold for that week. Only 2.3%. So out of every 100 condos, 2 and a little bit are going to sell every single week. So far, according to the numbers, the way we see them now. Here's York Region condos. Sales are up. 42 condos were sold. 3 of those were at $1 million or more. Average sold price is sitting at $668,000. $668 is 4% lower than where we were this time a year ago. The median price of $643 is 1% lower year over year. Of the 42 that sold, 19% sold at list price or more. We said the 42 sold, that represents 5.3% of the active listings of condos available for sale. So 5.3% sold for week ending February the 12th. And months of inventory came down a bit. We're now at 4.4 months of inventory. Pretty much a balanced market when it comes to York Region condos. Here's Peel Region. 22 condos were sold. Sales really hasn't changed that much over the last few weeks. One of those condos was at $1 million or more. Average sold price is $581,000. $581 is 1% lower than this time a year ago. The median price of $560 is really rounded. It's 0% change year over year. Of the 22 that sold, 9% sold at list price or more. We said 22 sold. That's 2.7% of the amount of condos in Peel region actually available for sale. And listings also way up this year versus the same period a year ago. And months of inventory sitting at 8.7 months of inventory. Pretty much, you're in a buyer's market in most areas when it comes to condos. Some areas, York region, maybe a few spots is going to see more of a balanced market, but at the top end, still pretty much you're going to experience buyer's market in most areas. Check out this large 1-bedroom plus den. The link will be on the screen here in South Etobicoke. Have a look.